We hope the day has not eliminated you from your fantasy football playoffs. That's a little before the little inside joke. Before the cameras came on, that made more sense to us two than it did to you.
Yes.
Anyways, I'm a great host of the show. It's week 14. It's the late game halftime show. Hit us up in the chat with what you want to hear about, the players you're concerned about, the players who have you tilted. We will, of course, talk you through it. We'll certainly maybe make you feel better.
Maybe.
Maybe is the operative word here. I'll tell you what I'm a little bothered by.
Are you a little bothered by the fact that something named Rico Gafford just scored, tying up the Titans-Raiders game?
Oh no, that I don't care as much about. That I take it or leave it. Randos scoring touchdowns, that's been part of the day. Derrick Henry being hurt.
Come on, Matt, let it out.
Hurts me.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite players in the NFL. He's on my 2 playoff teams.
How many?
He's on my two of two playoff teams.
Yeah.
Problematic. Help me. I said we're going to try to help the people. I want you to help me.
What do you want me to say?
Make me feel better.
How about you should feel good about the fact that he has been, since week 14 of last year, fire the entirety of this season. Instead of turning it on in the playoffs, he's turning it off. So you got here on the back of him. Maybe you have to get a little bit creative. Maybe you have to fish for running backs like, I don't know, Raheem Mostert. He seems to have a hot hand in San Francisco. Or a little replacement back named DeAndre Washington, who's lighting it up in Oakland in the stead of Josh Jacobs. Matt, this is the time where your acumen has to come into play, and you have to find a replacement for the one and only King Henry.
I'll be honest with you. I looked at the one team that was in the playoffs. It's actually the Listener League in the podcast, which you declined.
Was not invited into.
Oh, no. Declined her invitation into the podcast Listener League.
Something that Brett and Matt, the boy, just want to go do it without me.
And we had a damn good time doing it. I'll tell you what.
I also just like to say it because it makes Matt real angry.
I came back from a 1-5 start to apparently make the postseason. Derrick Henry's on the team. We'll see what happens there. But at least for those like myself, at least he had 12 carries for 55 yards and a touchdown before leaving this game. We'll see what happens. He's dealing with a bit of a hamstring injury. That was the report. He jogged off with just under 2 minutes left in the game.
So bad timing because they have not had extension talks, the Titans and Derrick Henry, per Adam Schefter.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. He's probably betting on like a big playoff run. They're probably, running backs don't matter, whatever, who knows.
Now if he's a little banged up.
That'd be tough because he is definitely a different.
The engine of the offense.
Yeah, for sure. Elsewhere in that game, though, the big story here, I think, is A.J. Brown, who on 4 targets has 4 catches, 141 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He also looked like he had a little bit of a calf injury in this game. Didn't matter, came right back in, scored his second touchdown.
Do you know what I think is interesting about this? Because I've heard some analysis this week that is not bad analysis, it is just differing analysis, right? Okay. We all need different opinions so we can form our own. That's part of our job in the collective conversation. Part of the knock against starting A.J. Brown was because so much of his production has come after the catch. We're seeing it again, though, because maybe that's what this player does best. Matt, my colleague, comped him to a larger-sized Golden Tate heading into and out of the NFL draft this season. So I feel like if you have a player who knows how to get the yak, maybe you bake that into your projection of him.
Yeah, for sure. And by the way, speaking of things we did get right, we did say that there was a chance, a pretty good chance, that he could end up leading the team in receiving yards by the end of his rookie year. Well, heading into today, he's leading his team in receiving yards. Right. He just popped up another 141 yards. I think he's got a pretty damn good chance. I don't think Corey Davis is passing him by the end of the year. So A.J. Brown is a huge buy heading into his second year. Let's hit the chat room up. I know our first question came in from someone wanting to know, is Melvin Gordon hurt? No, Melvin Gordon I don't think is hurt. Austin Eckler has just been making big plays so far, which is part of it. And again, don't be too picky here. I know Gordon is in a smash spot, but he still went for 8 for 35 and a touch.
Right.
Of course, Derek Watt also scored a touchdown, the fullback, which
blocked for Melvin Gordon back in Wisconsin. That's part of the reason that Gordon is so good with this line.
Yeah, and of course, Austin Eckler has been making big plays. He has over 90 yards in the passing game and on the ground, but that's part of it. Also, you really like this game script for Melvin Gordon because in the second half, 31-3, the Chargers are leading over the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think there's a pretty good chance we're going to see a lot more rushing in the second half, which is, of course, how you would have to get Melvin Gordon the ball.
Did you also mention that Melvin Gordon converted all 4 of his looks in the passing game?
I did not, but he has converted 4 for 31.
Yeah, he's gotten targeted. I mean, you can't be mad about this usage.
You can't be too bad. Yeah, so to answer your question, he's not too hurt. People are upset about Benny Snell and James Washington.
Okay.
Let's talk about it, though. I mean, it's halftime, 13-10. The Steelers are over the Arizona Cardinals. Now, we'll talk first about the passing game. Duck Hodges, has 9 for 10, his completion rate, but he's only completed 90 yards. That's pretty standard. That's what you expect. He's made a lot of plays with his legs. He has not only just on a raw rushing perspective, he's leading the team with 28 yards on the ground. He's also made a lot of plays to get out of pressure, which I think has been a nice change from that guy they used to have at quarterback right before him. I think there was a play in the green room where he got out of pressure where I said to you, I'm like, on that play right there, Mason pees himself on that one.
Matt did say that thing.
Yeah.
And also, the broadcasters announcing this game said that over the past few weeks with Duck under center is a funny thing to say, the playbook has evolved for him. So maybe we're not just seeing a feed Benny Snell situation because they are allowing Devlin to air it out a bit more, even with a depleted receiving core. Deon Cain, by the way, my goodness, that was a gorgeous catch. And it's interesting to me that this was a player that the Colts were very, very high on. He had an injury, and it was projected that he would not be at full strength until November. And what do you know? They end up cutting him, which I was frankly surprised by, given all of the injuries that the Colts have had. And sure enough, now it's December, and he's looking pretty good for the Steelers.
Yeah, for real. It is really interesting that that cut ended up happening because that was a player that they liked. I think
they must have had something on the medicals, right? Like
probably.
But he's proven them wrong. Anyway, I'm not too worried about Benny Snell here in the second half. Like, I think you're going to get enough production to be okay. You're just not going to have a runaway spot, which is why we said he was probably best as a flex.
Yeah, I think so too. 2 for 15 for James Washington right now. You know that he's not going to get a ton of volume, but you're counting on a big play happening at some point.
That's what we said, though. Yeah, I mean, that's what he cleared over 95 yards in back-to-back weeks, but those did not come from massive volume.
People are also chatting about Tom Brady struggling mightily right now. This was a scenario. I did our little selfie video football thoughts that we do for the app, not the website. I think it's the app. I think it's the app of the website. You don't care. But the point is, I think that this is interesting for the New England Patriots because I thought really for them to have a good shot at this game, they'd obviously want to come out and establish the run right away. That's not really happened so far. Sony Michel, 1.6 yards per carry. James White has had a couple of good rushes as well, 3 for 24, but
not too much. He only had 2 targets. I think he's only caught 1 ball.
Yeah, the passing game is just a straight up problem for New England, and already down 17-7 heading into the end of the first half. This is not what you want to see. And the Chiefs are driving right now because Tom Brady right now, 47% completion rate, 5.5 yards per attempt, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. I'll be honest with you, I don't love the Patriots in this situation. I don't see how they can come back from this.
So I love that you pointed this out because on last week's Cover 3, one of the questions in Run the Option that we were asked was, are the Patriots in trouble? And I know the default answer is, they'll figure it out. We just watched a Super Bowl that was, like 13-3 or whatever the final score is. I don't remember. I tried to block it out of my memory. But I am worried about the Patriots because what I don't hear enough people saying is the fact that Gronk is not on the field. There is no GOAT. N'Keal Harry was supposed to be that person for Tom Brady, and that doesn't exist right now. When Tom Brady is yelling at receivers, on the field after they're dropping passes, that is a big problem. And so I agree with you. I think there is an issue here. I am surprised that they haven't been able to catch up because my thought in starting Tom Brady was he would be forced to figure it out, and we've seen him figure it out. But I don't know if he has the talent around him to effectively carry out what he wants to do.
Yeah, I hear you. And Kevin,
and my God, they're spreading it all over. There's no, outside of Julian Edelman, there is no concentrated passing tree here.
Yeah, and N'Keal Harry, I think, has played 1 snap, so this is...
Kobe Myers has 1 target. Philip Dorsett, who Brady hates, obviously, has 1 target. James White has 2. Rex Burkhead has 1. Ben Watson has 2. There's nobody here with more than 3 targets other than Julian Edelman. That is a problem.
Yeah, it's really troubling.
Can I say something to Scott? Thank you for noticing I look comfy. I am comfy. I just had to do it this week, week 14. Hope you're comfy too. Go on.
Makes sense. It is that time of the year.
Grin like that.
What?
Get out of here.
We're all comfortable, right?
I mean.
I'm comfortable. Once again, Spencer Ware is usable. Ryan from Facebook says that. I don't know. I mean, the Chiefs' backfield so far, we haven't had any clarity coming out of it. 7 for 21. LaShawn McCoy is leading the backfield. I don't know that we really have any answers here. My boy Darwin Thompson has 3 for 33 as a receiver and 1 brutal drop, so that's nice to see. I don't know. I don't see any clarity from this Chiefs backfield.
I mean, we knew a couple. Wait, here's what we know: LaShawn McCoy is not getting more than 14 touches. Like, right? That's the most carries he's had all season. He's usually getting about 10. He also, a couple of weeks ago, when the D. Williamses were healthy, he was the early down grinder, which surprised us, right? And he wasn't getting many looks in the passing game. I think Randy Reed's trying to figure it out, like which of these guys is going to be, which he's giving these backs the opportunity to have the hot hand, and he is the most comfortable with McCoy because of an obvious familiarity. Spencer Ware only has 2 carries, so don't tell me that he's running away with this backfield. Darwin Thompson, though not as effective, has the same number. So I think this is a little bit of an audition for both of them.
Yeah, let's talk about a backfield that we have a little bit more clarity on, I think. So far,
where shall we go, Matt?
We shall go back to the Titans-Raiders game.
Oh, sure.
It looks like DeAndre Washington now, on the other hand, is clearly the leader in this backfield. 7 for 28 as a rusher. With Josh Jacobs out. With Josh Jacobs out. A touchdown in this game. Jalen Richard, 4 for 19 on the ground. In terms of the passing game, Richard has 1 for 7, but DeAndre Washington, as you did a good job pointing this out.
Oh, thank you,
The duality
I'm glad I do a good job.
of these 2 backs. 4 for 25 for DeAndre Washington. He's not a straight-up 0 in the passing game, unlike Josh Jacobs, which is...
That's what I was just going to say.
Totally weird.
How frustrating that Gruden refuses to include Josh Jacobs in the passing game, and yet we're seeing, to quote Matt, a dust ball like DeAndre Washington getting 4 targets already. I mean, Josh Jacobs, the most targets he's ever had in a game was in week 10. He had 5 targets. He caught 3 balls. Maddening.
Yeah, I know. It's so
Maybe
bizarre.
It's because they're worried. I mean, my guess is Gruden was worried about the fact that Josh Jacobs was never a workhorse. I mean, but he's toting so many damn carries. That doesn't make sense either.
Yeah. I know. It's so bizarre. But still, I still think you got to like DeAndre Washington as a nice RB2 flex fill-in. I think it's a good time to be investing in that back. If you have a waiver pickup this week, he's a guy that I would definitely keep paying attention to. Elsewhere, we have a good Sunday night game.
We're gonna talk about that.
We're gonna talk about that here.
I was checking out the chat here.
There's a lot of weirdness going on in there from our Twitch viewers who we are seeing, but you're not really saying anything useful, so I can't really talk to you. Anyways, I will say it's an interesting game. Yeah, I know it's an interesting game going on. It's an interesting game going on tonight, Sunday Night Football. Rams versus the Seahawks. Liz, your Rams. What's up? Talk about your Rams.
I'm going to talk about Todd Gurley and how he has looked undeniably more explosive over the last few weeks. Obviously, Sean McVay and the Rams have reshuffled this offensive line. They've given him a different deployment, if you will. That has boosted the entire offense. We know that Jared Goff is not the answer. Gurley is coming off of a 20-touch game in which he surpassed 100 total yards. Yeah, it was versus Arizona, but it's not like the Seattle Seahawks have a staunch run defense. They're giving up 4.6 yards per carry to opposing rushers, 13 touchdowns, which I believe is the 9th most touchdowns on the season. So I have anticipation that both of these teams, frankly, are going to want to establish the run. And my guess is going to be that the team that scores first is the team that ends up winning.
Yeah. The team that scores first is the team that's going to end up winning. That's your guess because the state established the run. I think that makes some sense.
Why are you smirking at that? Is there more?
I can't deal with my guy River Slug here who wants me to thank him for his contribution. Thanks. Appreciate you. I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't know. I have no idea. I'm sure Ravi, my producer, will explain it to me afterwards, and I'll look like a clown, which is, I'm used to that. That's fine. Now, let me tell you what, though. about tonight's game.
You tell me what, though, Matt.
I am very excited to watch
Tyler Lockett get shut down. Oh,
no,
said it.
Come on.
I said it.
The good thing is he's not on either one of my 2 playoff teams, so thank God for that. But I don't think that he gets shut down in this spot.
I know you don't.
Well, I know you don't, but maybe
maybe
my guy River Slug doesn't know that.
I'm just gonna call it back because Matt, you're breaking one of your own cardinal rules.
Oh no.
Hope is poison, baby.
That's not true. I'm off the hope is poison.
Oh, you are now.
I'm off hope is poison.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm off that.
Okay.
Only when it fits my narrative.
Cool. Well, ladies and gentlemen, a man. Congratulations.
All right, so Tyler Lockett, though, I don't think he gets shut down. I think that they move him around enough. I think he's healthy. I think we're going to see a pretty good game from Lockett because I expect this game to be high scoring. Kevin from Facebook.
Look, Kevin, by the way, who has been tooting his own horn. Bravo.
Kevin loves himself some Kevin. 4 for 67. I could see that. That's not shut down to me.
I mean, that's not.
It's not like
Tyler Lockett wide receiver 1 numbers. That's like in that dearth of wide receiver 3. Like, I'm going to flex one of these guys and pray.
Yeah, I think he's startable. It doesn't have a great floor, but I think there's enough of a ceiling there. And I think you'd feel pretty good about yourself if you end up doing that. Hey, it's over the 3.5 catches that we had on our over-under line from FFL.
Do you
Kevin
think
also
DK
says
Metcalf can score in this one?
I do, because the usage has been there. He's been getting the deep looks. And the Rams' defense, I think, can be had from a vertical perspective, especially if he gets lined up on your boy Troy.
Not my boy Troy. But yes, can we talk about the Monday night game a little bit?
Oh my God, you want to talk about Eli Manning? Sure, fine.
Well, I just want to make the point that Eli Manning's deep ball rate is significantly higher than Danny Dimes is, and so I think there'll be a little bit more fight back than anyone is anticipating. I also think it's an interesting spot for Darius Slayton.
I think so too. I think especially when you look at the Eagles secondary, I think they can be beat deep. Slayton is that guy. We'll see. But the problem is, though, Eli Manning.
He has been rested, Matthew.
Can't throw it more.
How do you know? Like, yes, maybe he can't throw it
10 yards down the field.
Not after 3 months off.
I mean, he's rusty now at this point.
I'm not rusty. Maybe he's just like well massaged.
I doubt it. I'm gonna go with rusty.
I'm gonna get well massaged. I might know.
Oh, all right. Well, that's a good point. You do know. All right. I think that's all we got.
He can't take it.
I can't. All right. That's enough. Week 14. It's been fun. It's almost over. It's getting there, but we do have a good Sunday night game to look forward to. And Liz's, dreamboat Eli Manning, unbelievable. He'll be back on Monday night. He'll be back ruining my life because he's one of my least favorite players to watch. But here we are. To all of you out there, especially you, River Slug, I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you tuning in. We will be back for week 15 and 16, so the fun is far from over. Good luck in your little fake football matchups. Sincerely.
You're not little, man. We are proud of you for getting this far. Thank you for joining us and Crush again.
Good luck.